Zacatecas is the capital and largest city in the state of Zacatecas. The first people to populate the area arrived approximately 10,000 years ago, when the climate was wetter and warmer, with different vegetation and wildlife. Eventually, the area came to be dominated by various Chichimeca tribes, with the Zacatecos being the most numerous in the area of the city today. The Spanish came to Zacatecas via Guadalajara. In 1540, Nuño de Guzman traveled from Mexico City, conquering what are now the states of Michoacán and Jalisco. One of Guzman's lieutenants, Cristobal de Oñate, conquered the area around what is now Guadalajara. Another, Pedro Almindez Chirino Peralmindez, went to explore the lands to the north, taking Zacatecas with little trouble, but not knowing of the riches underneath the soil. Other expeditions followed, including one by Juan de Tolosa in 1546, who brought back rock samples from Cerro de la Bufa, which were determined to contain high concentrations of silver and lead. A mining camp was soon established at the foot of Cerro de la Bufa. The Zacatecos initially fought the permanent presence of the Spanish, but the mining potential of the area strengthened the Europeans' resolve, and the natives were defeated in the 1540s. This brought a large number of people to Zacatecas, including craftsmen, merchants, clerics, and adventurers. In 1550, royalty found its way to Zacatecas, in the shape of Leonor Cortés Moctezuma, the illegitimate daughter of conquistador Hernán Cortés, and Isabel Moctezuma, the daughter of the Aztec emperor. Doña Leonor married Juan de Tolosa. The settlement grew over the space of a few years into one of the most important cities in New Spain, and the most populous city after the City of Mexico. The success of the mines led to the arrival of indigenous people and the importation of black slaves to work in them. The mining camp spread southwards along the course of the Arroyo de la Plata, which now lies underneath Hidalgo Avenue, the old town's main road. Tall buildings were constructed along here due to the lack of flat area on which to build. The first house was supposedly built in 1547, just before the fortress and metal foundry. Hospitals and hospices were built in the 1550s. Zacatecas was one of the richest states in Mexico. One of the most important mines from the colonial period is the El Eden mine. It began operations in 1586 in the Cerro de la Bufa. It principally produced gold and silver, with most of its production occurring in the 17th and 18th centuries. Today, the opening of this mine is within the city limits and was closed to mining in 1960, but was reopened as a tourist attraction in 1975. By the end of the 16th century, the city was the second most important after Mexico City. Its importance was not only due to mining. Most of the monastic orders in New Spain eventually established monasteries, making Zacatecas an important center for evangelization. The Franciscans arrived in 1558, the Augustinians in 1576, and the Dominicans in 1604. Many of the missionary expeditions that are now California and Texas came from this city. Over the rest of the colonial period, the riches from the ground financed the building of important religious and secular constructions. The peak of this construction occurred in the 18th century. One of these constructions is the Colegio de San Luis Gonzaga, which was established in 1796. Ignacio López Rayón, led a group of Mexican rebels capturing the city of Zacatecas on April 15, 1811, early in the fight for Mexican independence from Spain. Victor Rosales and Jose Maria were leaders of Hidalgo's rebellion. Shortly after independence, the Mexican government established the city of Zacatecas as the capital of the newly formed state of Zacatecas. In the mid-1820s, institutions such as the First Opera House, First Teachers College, the State Treasury, the State Supreme Court, and other institutions were founded in the city, when the first state constitution was signed. During the Mexican Revolution, Zacatecas was the scene of the Battle of Zacatecas in 1914, pitting the rebel forces of Francisco Villa against the government forces of Victoriano Huerta. Zacatecas was the last stronghold of the Huerta forces, which the Division del Norte arrived on June 19, 1914, from Torreon. Over 22,000 rebel troops then approached the city from 4 directions, from the mountains of La Bufa, La Sierpa, Loreto, and La Tierra Negra. Battle casualties were about 5,000 for Huerta's troops and about 3,000 for the rebels. The rebels sacked the city and destroyed a number of buildings. But enough of these buildings remained for UNESCO to declare the city a World Heritage Site, proclaiming it is notable for its harmonious design and the Baroque profusion of its facades, where European and indigenous decorative elements are found side by side. Like other mining cities in Mexico, such as Guanajuato and Taxco, the city was built near the mines on very rough terrain. Instead of having an orderly plan of streets, the Spanish settlement followed the old Indian neighborhoods with narrow streets and alleys squeezed into a large ravine. Without attempting to modify rough terrain, development also ran up the hills. Today, the most important sectors of the municipal economy are mining, which employs about 21% of the population, livestock, to which 76% of the surface area is dedicated, and commerce, which employs over 70% of the population. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I have many more videos of this part of Mexico in the playlist that is linked in the description below this video. You'll also find a link to another playlist of when I bicycled through Mexico. That was part of a larger trip, bicycling through Latin America. I've also bicycled through Eastern Africa and Central and Eastern Europe, and I have playlists for all those countries that I've bicycled through available on this very same YouTube channel, Hum of the Earth. Alternatively, if you'd like to see an interactive map of everywhere that I've been and all the things that I got to see and do, I have that interactive map available over on my website, followthehumoftheearth.com. Where you can click on the different locations and see all the blog posts and videos that I've made of those places. And if you'd like to follow my continuing adventures through Mexico and beyond, you can do so by clicking on the red subscribe button and clicking on the bell to be notified when new videos come out. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.